lights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
Well, a big second half. It was dicey there for the first few minutes of the third quarter, but then the Kings stepped on the gas. They pull away and they win 127-104. DeMar DeRozan did not play in the second half with back tightness. They didn't miss him. The Kings took advantage of a depleted, tired Suns team. And really, as you predicted at halftime, you thought attrition would come into play, and it really did. They just ran him off the floor.
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer pulls the starters at about 5:30, as he should have. Grant, yep. I don't know that nausea could be personified any better in a basketball game than tonight's game. I mean, that's what it was.
It was. You know, the Kings shot the ball well, so that's positive, and they get a victory that they needed. They now have beat the Suns twice in 3 games. Not to deviate from this game, how about Victor Wembanyama tonight? 50 points. Wow.
Oh boy.
Look out, NBA. There's a new sheriff coming into town.
almost 50 or almost 50% from beyond the arc, too.
Wow.
So he got something going in the Sacramento game, obviously.
And you got Portland leading Minnesota in the fourth, 91-83. So that's pretty surprising. But back to the Kings. All right. So I don't want to necessarily connect A to B without knowing.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, when you talk about DeMar DeRozan and the back tightness, I just wonder if this is going to be a repetitive thing with some of the players because of all of the minutes the starters are logging.
You know, Grant, I got to think it's not. DeMar's been so durable over his career. Last year, he played a career high in minutes, and he played, over 70 games. So I think it's probably going to be okay. If there's a night to say if it's tight, sit out, night was tonight.
All right. Well, they didn't need him. That's for sure. Of course, Phoenix played without Kevin Durant. They played without Bradley Beal. They also had a situation with, Nurkic was playing hurt, although he did play 22 minutes, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the Suns, who are now 9-3, and 2 of their losses are to Sacramento. Grayson Allen was hurt. So, listen, that's part of the NBA schedule. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to come around and bite you, and it's going to help you on other nights. And the bottom line is the Kings handled their business tonight. We can talk about the turnovers. We can talk about the offensive rebounds. But is there anything of substance that you pull from tonight, Nabes?
Yeah, they won a game at home that they were supposed to win. That's it.
That's it. Didn't get the shooting going a little bit.
They won a game at home that they were supposed to win based on the opponent's roster and the fact that they had played the night before. So I like that. I like the fact that even though they were down by 2 in the third, they made this a game of quick work in the second half, and I like that. You didn't have to play the starters a lot of minutes. I mean, we've talked about the minutes. Fox played 32. You had Murray played 33. You had Sabonis play 30. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, those are all positive things. Indeed. We want to hear from you tonight. You can use the QR code on the screen, take a picture of that, or use the link that's in the chat. Let's bring on Corndog. Welcome in tonight. And turn your video down as Corndog gets set up. All right. We will give him another try. I thought there is one thing that I'm going to pull from this game, and it's too early to call it a trend, Grant, but it's something to watch. De'Aaron Fox only took 2 threes today, and he had 10 assists. He averages 6.5 threes per game, usually, and he averages 4.7 assists. Is there something with the ball movement where the ball stops on him and he's taking too many threes? Because more touches got around to Keegan, to Trey Lyles, to other players. So is that a trend that continues that correlates with higher 3-point percentage going forward?
I hope so. I hope so, because I think it's a recipe for more wins. I like the 3-point percentage overall. I mean, it was outstanding tonight, 15 of 28 for 53%. Now, you're not going to do that every night.
No.
But, yeah, I did like the fact that Fox didn't chuck up the ball a lot tonight.
Yeah, and we've a lot of talk about the ball movement around here as of late, so definitely a positive there. The cleanup, or I would say the turnovers will get cleaned up, but they were more giveaways than anything. But that run that they went on in the second half, Grant, they made 7 of their last 9 shots, or excuse me, 11 of their last 12 shots to end the quarter, which was an incredible stat for them.
It was. Again, it was nice to have an easy game, wasn't it? I mean, it was nice to have an easy game in the win column. And so now you get ready for Minnesota, who they're struggling. I mean, they're down right now 94-88 with 2.5 left to go in the fourth. They may come into town 2 games under 500. And again, I'm not so sure I want to play this team when they're coming in with losses, because I just look at their roster and I think it's too good. And Julius Randle killed the Kings on opening night, if you remember.
He did. He absolutely did. And Anthony Edwards shooting the ball at a ridiculous rate from beyond the arc. Do you give any credence to the fact that they played the Trailblazers 3 times in basically the last week and a half?
What do you mean? What do you
mean
by that?
The fact that the Trailblazers have had success with them 2 nights in a row, but they've seen them 3 times in the last week and a half with the scheduling.
They could play every night, but if I look at Portland's roster and Minnesota's roster, I'm thinking Minnesota's going to win 8 out of 10 games.
They should. Yeah, Portland's made a couple of adjustments. They put Kling into the starting lineup, which has made a little bit of a difference for them. And again, early in the season, we can't judge them yet. You said at halftime, they might sneak up on some teams.
Yep. Hey, I need a idea for a rant with Grant coming up in a little bit right here on If You Don't Like That. And don't forget, Thanksgiving. Yes, indeed. 2 weeks from tomorrow. Make sure that you get your Thanksgiving reservations at Bennett's. They're open from 11 in the morning to 7 o'clock. Also, Thanksgiving dinners that are hot to go. You can pick it up at the Sacramento Roseville or the Westside Grill location. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com and get yourself good to go for Thanksgiving at Bennett's. Again, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com for your Thanksgiving plans.
So when the Napiers don't order Bennett's for Thanksgiving dinner, what's on the table at a Napier Thanksgiving?
Phenomenal homemade bread. Phenomenal. As good as I've ever had. The turkey, the sweet potatoes and whatever. First of all, I'm not a real Thanksgiving meal type of a guy. I'm kind of a different dude that way. The green bean casserole, the pretty basic stuff, pretty basic. What about you?
Anything. Well, it's pretty basic. We usually traditionally, not the last couple of years, have 40 to 50 people. So it is cooking for a big group. So it's like a little hometown buffet, but all the classics, a couple of exotics. We deep fry turkeys as well, which is pretty good.
You know what one of my least favorite things to do in life is? Sit at a table with a bunch of people for a long time. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I want to sit down. I don't want to sit there and do all the small talk BS for 2 hours while you're sitting there on an uncomfortable chair and, people are talking about stupid stuff. And I hate that. I absolutely hate it. And my wife has always known that. And she understands when I get up and leave, it's not personal and I'm going to watch the game and don't bother me. That's how I am.
Okay, give me the food at the table and the people for 2 hours instead of 3 hours of lead up waiting for the food to be ready. I don't like that.
I'll wait all freaking day. That. Let me eat in 15 minutes and get the hell out of there and go watch the game.
Yeah.
So no,
I don't like the buildup.
Because I'm already talking to everybody for the buildup. I don't need to sit at a table in an uncomfortable seat, even if it's comfortable. I don't need to sit there when. I don't need that. I don't like that. I'd rather go sit on the couch or a nice chair and we'll continue the conversation there. Why do we have to stay around the damn table for 2 hours? I hate that.
I hear you. I do not disagree whatsoever. It's actually a valid damn take. Let's go to all the way from Brazil. Paulo.
Yes.
Hey. Hi, guys.
What is up, buddy?
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. What time is it there?
It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. Good for you, man. Thank you very much for being with us.
2 hours.
Wow.
With a good smile because we win.
Good. Yeah. That's good. Very nice to have you on the show. What did you like
Thank
about the
you.
game tonight?
I think it was a nice game. I like the
Yeah,
bench. I like Fox that he doesn't shoot the threes and plays with everybody. I like McLaughlin. Jordan plays good, I think. And
played
so
good tonight. I like
we
his
need
minutes
bench
tonight.
players stepping out. So good points. And we were
Yep.
lucky to play the Suns this way because they play with nobody. The second half they got no fool. They got nobody.
How's the weather
So
in Brazil these days? Is it like perfect right now?
the weather. I'm Italian, but I live in France.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
So
Well,
so now the weather was good. Now uh is uh is becoming cold
so you're
because
not in
winter is
Brazil
coming.
right now. You're in France, right?
I'm in France. I live in
Oh, okay.
France.
Okay,
Okay.
France.
All
I'm
right.
in
Well, listen.
Marseille.
Okay, I understand. Well, I really
Yeah.
appreciate you joining the show. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much, Grant. It's
Thank
nice to
you. I
see you.
appreciate you.
Good night.
Thank you. And thanks to Jason for the super chat donation. Love the show, guys. You continue to be the best post-game show in town. And what us Kings fans want, keep it up. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate
Thank
the
you,
kind words and the
Jason.
support. Thank you very much.
Very, very much. You know, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the name of Keegan Murray. His defense on Devin Booker completely turned that game upside down because Phoenix comes out at halftime with 3 buckets right in a row. The Kings turn it over 2 of those 3 possessions. They put Keegan on Devin Booker. Frustrating night from there on out for him.
Yeah, no question. I would agree with you on that. Keegan had a plus 25 in this game, which was the best for anybody on the Kings.
Good job by Keegan there. Corndog, welcome in. Good job by Keegan there. Corndog, welcome in. All right, Corndog, you are off the list tonight.
What's up?
Zach, you're on with Grand Ryno.
Yo, Grant, you hit the nail on the head with the whole comment you were talking about at the dinner table and rather go watch the game.
Corndog, you are on
That should be your rant tonight.
Zach, you're on with Grand.
You never know. You know, I need rant ideas. You know, I need
honest,
ideas.
Because like that's me. I mean, like I do like a visit with family and stuff, during the holidays. But like really when there's games on, it's like I'd rather just go watch that. And I gotta be honest, when the Kings made the playoffs back in 2023, believe it or not, Grant, despite not making the playoffs in 16 years, for the first time in 16 years, I couldn't even watch that game, Grant. I couldn't even watch that game because we had a special family ceremony. I'm not.
Oh my God!
I know, and I was lit, and obviously, still back then, there was even then, COVID was still floating around. So I thought about making the excuse of not driving home because my college is within driving distance of my hometown, and so I was thinking about making an excuse saying "Hey, I got COVID." And I'm not kidding. That literally came to my mind, Grant. And I told my mom, I says Mom, I don't want to go to family celebration. Can I please watch this playoff game? We haven't made the playoffs in 16 freaking years. And you're not gonna allow me to watch this? And they said no.
I understand. Well, listen, man.
It's frustrating.
Hang in there. Yep. You take care.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Zach.
Two things that I don't like. Well, there are many things I don't like. I already told you my first.
Yes.
I don't like weddings going head to head with big sporting events. Pick a date where there's not a big game going on. All right.
How are you supposed to do that?
Very easy. You look at the damn schedule. All right.
Okay,
you don't get married on a Sunday. That's off limits.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
All right. In the fall, you got big college football games, plan it around that. Okay, let's get serious here. Over 50% of the people that are coming are going to be watching the damn game on the phone anyway, instead of paying attention to your vows and everything. And they just want to drink and, have a good time. Saturdays, I can deal with a little bit. Sundays, no. Don't go head to head with, the big events like, the World Series or, things of that nature. So plan it out, be smart. All right, let's go. Don't inconvenience your guests, for crying out loud. All right.
Have you had this chat with your boys yet?
No, I have not had to share that because neither of them are engaged. When they do, I will very much make sure that is the number one priority on their list.
Yes, indeed. That is funny. That is a tough thing, though, because I get fall Sundays. You stay away from them, but like, who thinks about when the Masters is? I guess the Masters is a bad example. I get what you're saying, or just put the
Yeah.
game on at the ceremony.
Yeah.
Find a way to put the game on.
Yeah.
Incorporate it. Oh,
Absolutely.
don't even start me. I had and Daniel, I love you to death, cousin, but they did a midweek wedding in the middle of the summer at 3:00. A midweek
What
wedding,
time?
3:00 outdoors.
See, I don't understand that either. Like, what the hell?
Midweek.
What do you think it's going to be like? I don't understand. I mean, the only thing you can guarantee is it's not going to rain, and there's a really good chance of it being hot.
Oh, it was brutal. It was, we're fanning grandma who's
And the
99.
bride doesn't want that either. The bride doesn't
No,
want to
she
deal with
does
that.
not. She melts. You don't want to be melting out in the sun. I get it. Yes, Donald. Fox had 10 assists. You want to see that aspect of him the most. We're seeing a lot of that in the chat tonight. We are.
Yeah.
The turnovers have been a little bit high for him, but the assists greatly helped this Kings team. There's no doubt about that.
We really appreciate the donations. Thank you very much. You guys are doing great. It was cool having lunch last year talking about YouTube and you both. I'm glad to see you're still at it and on here. Good job. We loved having lunch.
That was
with you, man.
great. Yes.
You're a phenomenal person. And I walked away from that lunch. I told Ryan, I go, this is what I love about life. You meet someone you've never met before, and you're just sitting there listening to their background and their stories, and you're just like, wow. So thank you very much for that. And
Yes.
I hope you're doing well, by the way.
You had to take off. I stuck around and had dessert at Bennett's.
But I
by the
called
way.
you. Remember I called you that night? I go,
Yes,
hey,
you
that was
absolutely
unbelievable
did.
today.
100%. It was such a great conversation. And I've wanted the chicken and ribs ever since he ordered that at Bennett's. Not going to lie.
Well, well, that was phenomenal that day. That was phenomenal.
Very good stuff.
But anyway, thank you very much. Good to hear from you and hope you're doing well. The final tonight was the Kings winning it 127-104. Don't forget about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They are available around the clock 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or just call the number on your screen. That's New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. And don't forget about Sunrise Landing. This is the newest residential community in Calusa. And if you go to calusasunrise.com, you'll be able to check out all their beautiful models, their different home lot sizes. I mean, it's really impressive. There's no Mellorews. There's no homeowners. This is from Blazona Development. And you'll find Sunrise Landing in a great location adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Good access to the major arteries such as I-5. Listen, folks, it's beautiful. Go to calusasunrise.com. You'll get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing. Kings win at 127-104. We are very happy to have you right here on the postgame show if you don't like that.
Yes, indeed. Grant, a ton of points tonight in the NBA.
Yeah.
A lot of points. 139 for Boston.
And let me update you on a couple scores. The Lakers have now gone ahead of Memphis with 1:45 left in that game. It's 121-114. All right. And we keep talking about Minnesota and their struggles. They lose again to Portland, and they don't even score 100 points. 106-98. How about that?
Interesting. Very interesting. And they got some points from some different people. Nikhil Walker-Alexander, he put up double digits. Anthony Edwards does what he does, but the Randall experiment rolls on. They don't like playing fast, Grant. Their numbers bear that out too.
That's right. Well,
and
they do not. And they're going to be pissed coming in here after this losing streak to Portland. The Kings better have their seatbelts fastened.
Well, and you look at their numbers for the season, the way they shoot the three ball and the amount of threes that they shoot, the Kings better be guarding that line and pushing them off. That double that you did on Trae Young is not going to work on Anthony Edwards.
And you hope that by the game against Minnesota in 2 nights that DeMar DeRozan's back is fine and good to go.
Yeah, you sure hope so. The fact that he was able to give it a go tonight, I mean, Grant, how much guys deal with stuff? Everybody's dealing with something in the season. Sure. How do you perceive that as somebody being around the league as long as you have?
I'm not worried about it. Back tightness is something that normally is a couple of hours, if you're young and healthy and in great shape. So he doesn't have any structural damage. So I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah, and again, good night for it to happen if it's going to happen. I mean, if we said coming into this week you're going to be without Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan, and you beat the Suns, you're taking it.
Yes, but if I had also told you that Phoenix would be without Kevin Durant, without Bradley Beal, and Grayson Allen, you probably
You
would have
better
said,
have it.
"You better have it." Yeah,
You better have it. Absolutely.
yeah,
I really liked Washington, just really quick, because I've been a big proponent
yep.
of the Kings player development in Stockton. The fact that Phoenix called up one of their G League players who's been scoring 18 and a half consistently in the G League, and he comes in and knocks down 8 points in about 5 or 6 minutes in his debut in the NBA tonight. That is a good thing for the G
Yep.
League and a good thing for player development across the NBA altogether.
Yep, very, very true. Very true. All right, if you want to get in on the show, give us a shout. We'll put you on if you want to hit us up on the chat line. And don't forget, I've got my rant coming up here in a couple of moments. Looking forward to doing that.
Looking forward to it. Get in if you can. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. It's where all the content lives. We had a fun day today. You had Sean Salisbury earlier.
It was great.
That was such a good conversation. Always is.
I mean, oh, great. His story about John Robinson, who we lost this week, phenomenal.
Yeah, what would you say? The shits? You're playing like the shits. You know. But the coolest part about that story for me that Sean shared was that Coach Robinson pulled him inside and said, "We both know that you're playing like the shits, but they don't. So just keep doing what you're doing and keep grinding." But good stuff.
Amazing.
4 o'clock show with Jerry every Wednesday, by the way. If you don't know, we
Yeah.
do a Kings Roundtable with Jerry Reynolds right here on the channel. So make sure that you are subscribed. We would love to have you.
This is an interesting message about the Wolves. They lost, that's good, not good, knowing that they would play hard on Friday. I don't think playing hard is an issue for them. And I also have talked about this many times because I kind of go back and forth on this. So I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. There's a reason why Minnesota is not playing well and why they're losing. Okay, like there's a reason why they just lost 2 games to Portland. There's a reason why they're 2 games under 500. They're not 2 games under 500 because they're playing really well. They're 2 games under 500 because they're not playing well. And personally, I'd much rather play Minnesota now than when they figure it out and get rolling, because they are going to get rolling. So play them now, man. Play them now when they're down.
Yeah, you look at it just off the top, some of the differences in their numbers so far year over year. Their blocks are down 22%, Grant. So interior defense, not that Towns was a monster in there, but you've got Gobert, who's getting a year older. Randall, who's a little bit of a different defender. 2-point attempts down drastically as well, minus 14.8%. So how many games do you give them with a shakeup like that to really get a good read on a team?
20 to 25. We talked about that earlier today. And this may end up being one of the worst trades in Minnesota history if it backfires on it, because this is a team that was in the Western Conference Finals a year ago. But now, you look at a Minnesota team. I said they're 2 games under 500. I don't know what I was. They were a game over 500 when the game started, so I take that back. They're 6-6, so I apologize for the mistake. All right, so you had Julius Randle played 37 minutes tonight. Mm-hmm. All right. He was 7 of 15, had 10 rebounds. He had 20 points. But I look at Anthony Edwards. He took 25 shots tonight, made 10 of them. But guess what? He missed all 9 3-pointers. We talk about Fox. We've been talking about Murray. Anthony Edwards was 0 of 9 from 3 in this game. Hard to win when your best player goes 0 of 9 from distance.
And that's how the Kings almost knocked him off. He struggled in Sacramento through 3 quarters. And then the Kings had that bad stretch, and the rest is history with a player of his greatness.
Yes, and I wonder, when you look at his game, again, it's not like he's playing poorly. He's averaging 28 points on the season, shooting 47%. But his game is a little bit different now without Karl Anthony Towns. Like, it's now just like Fox and Sabonis. You're learning how to fit in with a new piece who's really, really good. Well, and it doesn't happen overnight.
You make a great point. The spacing is different because Cat played so much on the perimeter, Grant, and now you can focus in a little bit more, probably drawing a few more double teams than he did when Cat was there.
And what's interesting about Edwards, it's not like he's actually shooting the ball very well from 3 this year. It's just against the Kings or whatever. He is 45% from 3 entering the game.
Yeah, it's a monster number, especially with the frequency that he takes it at. it's that adjustment period and it's things settling in. I mean, I can't help but think it's not going to be a terrible trade because I don't think Randall's going to be that bad. And also the money you got off the books, Grant, for Cat, you had him on the hook for another 2 or 3 years at a
I know.
massive number.
So they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and they decided, all right, we need to make a change. Now, I will tell you another team that did this a year ago, and that was the Boston Celtics. The Celtics said, you know what? We have a really good team, but we need to take a big piece of our team, and we're going to move it to get another big piece. Marcus Smart, Porzingis, and then they get Drew Holiday, and that they not only become a good team, very good, they become a dominant team.
This is a league where if you stand pat, you're going to get passed by.
Look at Dallas last year.
I mean, if you stand pat, you better have a big margin of separation between you and the next best team in the NBA.
Yep.
We've seen that with the Kings over the past couple years. And I think that should be motivation for any franchise, especially a small market franchise, to know that when those marginal moves are out there, Grant, you've got to make them because you're playing by a different set of rules here in Sacramento and in smaller markets.
I don't know why we get morons like this person who's an absolute moron with his comment. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. We haven't started any rumors about Fox. Wake the hell up or go find another show, would you please? I don't like dealing with like stuff that is completely 100% untrue. We haven't spread any rumors about De'Aaron Fox. Stop making up stuff, would you please?
Yeah, what rumor? Let us know. We'll address it.
Stupid. It's just a person that's trying to be an ass.
Yeah. That's what I love about our chat and our community. They police that out. There was a knucklehead in the chat the other night, and they were filtering him out, and finally it caught my eye, and we got him out. So don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Nope. Unbelievable. All right. Again, the Kings rolled tonight. I was shocked how quickly they were trailing in the third quarter tonight.
Yes. You come out with 2 turnovers, Grant, and you give up a 3 and an and 1 and a 2. It's going to be a problem.
Baki's not well. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Baki, there's something wrong with Baki. Don't you agree?
Serbia basketball World Cup final. Oh, Baki.
He's watching his 5th D-League from the telephone stream.
Baki.
Get a life, Baki.
Balance, Baki. Now, so that's probably not somebody you would want to be at the Thanksgiving dinner table with. That's going to be a lot of basketball talk.
Baki would be at the table for about 45 seconds if he wasn't allowed to have his phone at the table.
He'd have the TV.
Here's the other delicate part about that. When I was younger, when I had kids, you want to teach your kids good manners and be respectful. But my kids wanted to watch the games as much as I did, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a phony dad. I don't care about the dinner. I want to go watch the games. I'll tell you, when my dad always did the cooking in our house, always. And my dad made amazing, amazing meals. And my dad was very cool. He allowed us to have the TV on while we were eating. And because he wanted to watch the games as much as we did. So I always applaud my dad for that decision. And again, back then there were no like big screen TVs. You had
that was different. Right. TVs were not as... So,
it's not like you had a great view of the game while you were eating because, it's a different era. TVs back then were square and they were small.
And you couldn't afford to have a TV in every room if you wanted to.
Hell no.
Exactly.
In our house, TV in every room? Huh. You kidding me? We were lucky to have a bed in every room. Well, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah. We didn't even have air conditioning in our house. And you want to talk about the heat and humidity in the summertime in New York?
Oh, what was worse?
My dad went out and bought a dehumidifier, and he would turn that thing on at night. And in the morning, literally, like the pan was overflowing with water. That's how humid it was. I grew up without air conditioning. That is absolutely brutal.
Now it makes sense why that drive to Sacramento without air conditioning did not bother you.
I made it. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Was the winter worse or the summer
So
worse?
This person said, Grant, you said Fox wants to play for the Rockets. That's very true. That's his dream. That doesn't mean I said he wants to be traded. Most athletes dream about playing for the team that they grew up rooting for. That would be the norm. That would be like almost 100% of the athletes baseball players, football, we can go, they dream of that. That's something that they cherish, that they have, that they will want to experience in their life. So this is like normal. It's not abnormal.
Yeah. If I ever was blessed to be able to be in the NBA, the Kings would be it, as probably the Kings would be for anybody in this area that is a basketball fan and a basketball player.
All right, it is now time for a rant with Grant. It is brought to you by EDH Motors. Just go to edhmotors.com, EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. And here's what they will do for you, all right? They will offer new vehicle brokerage. They also offer vehicle consignments where they sell your vehicle for you. And, of course, they can buy your car, and they will sell pre-owned vehicles. This is a long overdue new concept. Just two people, David and Adam, who are trying to do something different and better. And you'll take delivery of your vehicle in their beautiful auto lounge in the El Dorado Hills Town Center. You don't have to deal with all the high-pressured sales stuff. You don't get pushed into the finance and insurance office, and I can go on and on. It's a great experience. I love this concept at EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. Just go to edhmotors.com. That's edhmotors.com, and you can check out everything from EDH Motors in El Dorado Hills. You know, it's amazing to me, and this happens all the time. People hear what they want to hear. They don't hear what is being said. And I don't understand why that happens so often. You want to take what an individual says and you want to completely change the context of what they said. Why do you feel that you have a right to change the meaning of a person's statement based on your own belief? Like, why don't you listen to what the person is saying? I said De'Aaron Fox would love to play in Houston. He's from Houston. He's made that very clear. I didn't say that De'Aaron Fox wants to be traded and has asked to be traded. I said he would love to play in Houston. Two totally different things. Guess what? I was the announcer for the Sacramento Kings for 32 years. I loved it. But you know what my dream was growing up? To be the announcer for the Knicks, the Rangers, or the Giants. I never got to live that dream, but I will also tell you this. If I had gotten a phone call in the middle of my tenure with the Kings and I was offered a job to do the Knicks, the Rangers, or the Giants, sayonara. I'm sorry, I'm leaving because I'm going to my dream, okay? I lived the dream by doing the NBA for 32 years and the Raiders in the NHL. I lived my dream, and I'm blessed, and I'm grateful. But I'd be lying to you if I said I would have turned down an opportunity to go work for one of those three teams. No chance. And if De'Aaron Fox ever gets an opportunity to go play in Houston, I don't believe he'll turn it down. I never once sent a resume to the Knicks, the Rangers, or the Giants. I never once made a phone call saying that I would like to work there. I was only thinking if it were to ever happen, I would take it and I would cherish it and I would love it. I never seeked it, never made any contact, just like De'Aaron Fox isn't contacting the Houston Rockets. So you people, let me backphrase that. Not you people, you individual or individuals that want to take meanings of sentences and change them to fit your own narrative, get a freaking life, would you please? And that's my rant for today.
So if you had your choice between the three, which
Giants.
one would it be?
New York Giants, not even close.
Really? I thought you would have gone Rangers.
New York Giants, you got to remember, I went to the New York Giants games at age 3 at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, deviate here for a second. I didn't miss a New York Giants game, maybe ever, but even when the games were not available on satellite, NFL Sunday Ticket, because it didn't exist and everything else, even when I worked in Decatur, Illinois, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I worked at an ABC TV station. The Giants were playing the Denver Broncos in New York, but it was on back then NBC, which used a K band. Our TV station could not get a K band. Being a little technical here, I used to have the person at the station turn the satellite to watch the Giants when they were on CBS. But you couldn't get him on NBC. You couldn't. The satellite. We used a different type of band. So I was looking around to find out where I could go to watch the Giants game. As it turns out, the Peoria market was airing the Giants-Broncos game. I had made all these calls. I get in my car. I drive 2+ hours and I walk into a mall, just driving around Peoria. I'm like, okay, there's a mall, there's a Sears. I walk into Sears. I turn every single TV in the TV department, every single one on the Giants Broncos. There was nothing else. There's 75 TVs, all but the Giants came on. Okay. I have a salesperson coming up to me and going, may I help you? I said, you know what? If the Giants win, maybe I'll buy a TV, but right now I'm busy. I stood there for 3 hours. George Martin, 78-yard interception, running down the sideline with Lawrence Taylor leading the way. Giants beat John Elway and the Broncos. Little did I know that a couple months later, or 2 months later, I would be at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on January 25th, 1987, watching the Giants beat those same Broncos 39-20. Yeah. So you want to talk about what kind of a fan? That's what kind of fan I was. And so if you told me, Grant, you could be the radio announcer for the New York Giants, I would do it for free. Wouldn't even ask you to pay me. And I would be the happiest person on, even though the Giants are maybe the worst team in football right now.
Yeah.
I would still do it and I would love it. That's always been my dream. Second one would be the Rangers. Third would be the Knicks. And the only reason why I'm choosing the Rangers over the Knicks is I enjoy doing hockey play-by-play more than any other sport. Hockey is my favorite sport to call. I've always thought it was my best sport. And I would have loved to have done hockey instead of the NBA. Not that I had a problem doing the NBA. Again, for those folks that like to change what I'm saying, they're going to go, gee, Grant went on the air and said he didn't like announcing NBA basketball. No, I didn't say that. I said I would prefer to do hockey because it is my favorite sport to call.
Got good eyesight if you can call hockey. That puck moves fast, my friend.
You know what? You have to know the game. It's not eyesight. It's knowing the game.
Is it anticipation? What is it?
It's just knowing the game. It's like I played the game. I know the game. It is anticipation, but you're also, as an announcer, your job is to describe what's going on, not what already happened or what you think is going to happen.
Right.
I've always tried to announce in the present tense on radio. TV is different on radio. So, and hockey's too quick to really anticipate. Like it's not an anticipation sport. Like if you're doing football and you're looking at the field and the quarterback's dropping back and you see that the wide receiver has clearly beat the cornerback, you know what's coming. Like, you know, okay, this is going to be a home run. Hockey is not really like that. Like on a breakaway, like a headman pass, a lead pass from your own zone to neutral ice, where you are able to, thread the needle and a player's coming in on a breakaway. That's 1 second. That's almost instantaneous. So it's totally different when you announce hockey.
It's fast paced. That's Napes to a T.
That's what I live for.
That is it to a T. So
what I live for.
Really quick, back to the Sears thing. You're telling me, you might blow some minds here in the chat, that Sunday Ticket hasn't been around forever, Napes?
Nope. That was before cell phones existed.
Yeah.
So I had to find where the game was being aired, and I'm like, oh my God, all right, I'm not missing this game. And then I flew back home for the 49ers game on Saturday, 49-3 Giants. Then the following week I flew back for the Washington championship game, 17-0. I told you the man across the aisle from me at Giant Stadium, who was in my section as a little boy, as a kid like myself, but a little bit older, was crying, confetti, everything else. And then we won the lottery and I got 2 tickets to go to the Super Bowl. My brother's a teacher, couldn't do it. My father didn't want to, and I told you the face value of that ticket for the Super Bowl against the Broncos on January 25th, 1987, 2 tickets, $75 face value. And I sold the 1 ticket for $750 and it paid for my whole month.
Incredible. And you guys were in the parking lot the night before the game, right?
Yeah. It was one of the best times I've ever had in my life. Ever.
It. Who was the halftime act at that game?
Madonna.
Whoa, you got a Madonna concert?
Yeah.
Well? Holy
How about that, huh?
How about that? Tony giving us an update on the Lakers and the Grizz. Lakers 128-123 beating the Grizzlies. All right.
I'm going to tell you something. I give the Grizzlies so much credit. Look at their roster that they
Oh, I
played
know.
with tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? I'm going to do the same for the Pelicans. I watched the first half of the Pelicans game. You didn't see a name that you recognize, guys that
No.
have just gotten signed, that have come up from the G League.
Yeah.
The score doesn't show it. They played hard, Grant.
Yeah.
They played hard.
By the way, not to get off, just because there's a blowout and not a lot of people want to talk about the game. I used to announce the Kings games back in the 80s and 90s. And if we were on the West Coast in like LA on a Saturday and we had a game, didn't have a game on Sunday, I always took a red-eye flight back to New York. All right. I would get on the plane. I would have a change of clothes, change in the Kings locker room. Kings would take my bag to the next city. I'd get on the plane with nothing, just the clothes I was wearing, fly on the red-eye, land in New York, had to go to JFK, take the train into the city, take the bus to the game. Then my brother, after the game, would drop me back off at the airport. Generally, it was normally Newark. I would go Newark. One time I went LA, New York all night, Newark, San Francisco connection, landed at Portland at 1:30 in the morning and did the Blazers game that night. Like I did that all the time. All the time.
Freaking love that.
I literally went to over half the Giants games when I was announcing the Kings games during their heyday.
Do you stay in touch with any of the families that had tickets around you? Because I know a lot of those tickets were legacies.
I don't.
Because it was a different time back then.
We didn't really have personal contacts. It was more of a game day friendship. It wasn't like, hey, you want to get together. It was never like that. It was like, hey man, how are you today? How was your week been? Cool, man. You coming next week, right? Yep. All right. See you here. I don't know if I'm going to be here. I live in California. You live in California, or like, you know what I mean? They're like,
Yes.
whoa. I see you every week. What do you mean you live in California? I go, that's why they make airplanes. So,
Great stuff. I love it.
What was my favorite game that I announced? I don't have one favorite game. I have a couple. The 35-point comeback in Chicago was one. The 37-point third quarter Klay Thompson game was one. The game I did on radio in the playoffs against Dallas was one. That's on YouTube. You can check it out. All the highlights are on there. Dave Grassoff, who's the best in the business, put a mic on me as he was doing a story for his TV station and was nice enough to edit that and put that on YouTube. So, yeah. And also, yes, rest in peace, Brian Wheeler. A couple of people have said, do I have any stories about Wheels? Nobody ever did not like Wheels. I never met anybody that didn't like Brian Wheeler. I love Wheels, and I'm sick to my stomach that we lost him at such an early age. I used to do a lot of games with Wheels. I did radio shows with Wheels. I told you he got so excited on the air that when he did games with me as an analyst, when I was doing the games on radio, I would have the toggle switch and I would turn his mic off during a big play because I knew he wouldn't be able to control himself and you wouldn't know what the hell was going on. And I told him, I go, Wheels, man, you got to shut up when he's like, I know, I can't help it. I go, you okay if I turn your mic off? He goes, yeah, please turn it off. I'm like, okay,
Such good stuff. All right, we're going to get an update on his 5th G League game of the night. Baki and Tedora, what's up?
She was sleeping and she said, "Oh, I heard you get a show. I must go in. I'm just want to say hello. So come on, take it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tedora.
She was.
How are you?
I'm great for now.
Good.
Good to see that you're feeling better. Haven't seen you for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm better, so I'm going to school for Monday.
Good. What time is it there right now?
It's now like 7.
Wow. Okay.
7 a.m.
Hey, Tedora, your dad always brags about these burgers. Are they really that good over there?
I think so. I can't eat them for I don't know how much, so I don't know.
She's on a diet right now, but she loves it.
Trust me, Ryan. Trust me.
I will trust you. You are a good judge of food.
Yeah, we were out.
Well, it's great to see both of you, and I hope that you're doing well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Tedora, if you're up, you might as well give us your signature. Hit it.
Yes. Holy moly, Zimbabwe.
Boom. Nailed
We
it.
love it. We love it. Thank you. We love that. Love having them on. The Tyreek Evans game winner from half court against Memphis was one. That was a great moment.
Let me ask you this really quick. That last game when you and Jerry had the sign off and the future of basketball in Sacramento was uncertain. What was it like calling that game, knowing the moment it was leading up to?
It was the hardest day of my broadcasting career by far. I've never had a day like that. And I knew at around 4:30 that I was going to have a problem because I was interviewed by Channel 13 on the court doing one of my commercials that I was doing my radio show right there courtside. And he said, "Can we talk?" I go, "Yeah, I got a 5-minute break. Let's go." And I almost broke down during the interview. And I'm like, and I had already seen the rollout Love Song from Tesla. And I had already seen it. And Craig Amazine, who is the director of broadcasting, is one of the best broadcasting minds I've ever worked with. Actually, I'll retract that. He's the best broadcasting mind I've ever worked with. And when he walked out of the door, he was sorely missed. He's the only one in that entire building that knows anything about broadcasting. He's the only one at NBC Sports Bay Area that knows anything about broadcasting. And he's so sorely missed. He put together that whole thing. And I had already seen the rollout. And I knew the impact of that. And you can also check that out on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's one of the best pieces that I've ever seen involving the Sacramento Kings. It was so well done. And so I knew I had to get to that. The impact, first of all, when the game starts and the game's going on, you're not really thinking about after the game while you're announcing the game. Like you're caught up in the emotion of what's going on in the stands, and you're documenting that, but you're not really thinking about, God, how am I going to get off the air in the first quarter? You know, like you worry about that when you get to it.
Sure.
But when the game ended and I'm with Jerry and my kids had moved down and they're sitting right there and I'm looking at them and my wife. And I'm thinking to myself, God, is this the last time my kids are ever going to be at Arco Arena watching a game? And then everyone started chanting Grant and Jerry. So well documented. I know people have seen it over and over and over again. At that point, when I heard the fans chanting that, I knew we were in trouble. And I honestly was very skeptical of being able to get to the rollout, which was the Love Song by Tesla. Yep. Paul Westphal and the players were out on the floor. They were thanking all the fans. And then when Jerry first kind of broke down a little bit, I was like, okay, figure out a way to get off the air and get into this rollout. Because I did not want to mess up the amazing job that Amazine had put together. Like, I didn't want that I just wanted to be able to get into it. And little did I know, and I say this because you know me, I don't brag. I don't care about, my job's about you. It's not about me. But when I met Jason Hare, who directed Down in the Valley, which some people saw, the 30 for 30 on the Kings. He also directed The Last Dance, the 10-part series on Michael Jordan.
Bulls. Yep.
The Bulls. When I got to be very good friends with Jason, and he told me that the main driving force of deciding to do a documentary on a city that he knew nothing about and a franchise that he knew nothing about were two things. One was me breaking down on the air, and the other was Carmichael Dave and everything that he was doing on his end. He said those two things, but he said, when I saw the video of you breaking down, I said to myself, there's something different. I've got to go out and explore this. This just doesn't happen. Right?
Yeah.
And then I had Kevin Johnson tell me the same thing, that, Kevin Johnson and the staff, they left the game early that night because they had to go to New York to the Board of Governors meeting the next morning to try to save the team. A lot of people forget that. Kevin Johnson and his staff left the game to fly to New York for the meeting that began the next morning. And Kevin told me he was absolutely blown away watching me and Jerry on camera, and that he talked to the Board of Governors about that and
Wow.
showed them that clip at the meeting the next
Wow.
morning.
There's some inside for you.
How about that? So, like, listen, when you're in that moment, you're not thinking of the magnitude. You're not thinking of, gee, this clip's going to go down in the history of the franchise. You're not, none of that enters your mind. Like, your job is to announce the game, and your job is to get off the air and send it to the song. I'm not thinking about, okay, I got to hit this because it's going to be seen over and over again for years. No, like, that doesn't enter your mind. That's not part of it. But as it turned out, that became a very iconic moment in the history and the movement of saving the Kings. I didn't know it at the time, but everybody will tell you that.
It was, and from a fan perspective, I can only speak for myself. I mean, you were always the voice that never cracked. You were always the strong opinion, right? And everybody didn't know where it was going, what was going to happen, but we got to stay strong, right? We got to hang in there. And you see Jerry start to bite his lip, right? And when your voice starts cracking, for me personally, it almost felt like it was okay to let that emotion out one way or the other, whether
I didn't have a
kept the
choice.
team or we didn't.
I couldn't help it. And then the other emotional time was when I was in the lobby at the hotel in New Orleans on Martin Luther King Day. And I looked down at my phone and it's George Maloof calling me. I go, hi, George. And he goes, hey, I'm calling you because I respect you and you need to hear this directly from me. We have a deal with Seattle, right? Now, we had heard the rumors from David Falk's daughter first on social media, if you remember.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
All over.
Well, then George called me, and I will never forget, ever, walking on that bus. It was a day game, and it was like a morgue on the bus. I'll never forget it. And I remember taking off. I was sitting on the left side of the plane to fly back to Sacramento, and I'm looking at the Mississippi River and the Gulf, and I'm saying to myself, God, I wonder if this is the last time I'm ever going to be in New Orleans doing this. Like, that's what was going through my mind. And then I'm like thinking, okay, how am I going to handle this on the radio? And you know me, like, I don't really prepare what I'm going to say when I go on the air. I just don't. I never have. And I went on the air the next day, and that was, your roll up the sleeves to the freaking neck day.
Yep.
Which also became iconic and everything that people still use. Like, I didn't say that, just came out, right? I don't rehearse this stuff. And every day for months, it was the most tumultuous 3 to 4 hours. And I was announcing the games, and I had the Maloofs breathing down my back. I told you the phone call I had when I was sitting back in my patio with my wife.
Right.
And Joe Maloof calls me and starts screaming at me. I put it on speaker.
Yep.
And my wife's looking at me like, and I'm like, and I let Joe go for a minute, and then I go, Joe, shut up. I did. I said, Joe, shut up. And he shut up. I go, Joe, are you freaking kidding me? I can't go on the air and say that. I'll have no credibility, Joe. I can't do it. I'll quit my job before I do that. Oh, yeah, I know, Grant. I'm just upset. I'm a little emotional. Grant, I know you can't do that. Grant, we love you.
That's the best Maloof impression I've ever heard.
Grant, I know. It's good, Grant. You're good. We love you. Our family loves you.
You got the mannerisms.
Anyway, so like, I'm just like, I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, oh my God, help me. And we used to go for walks every morning. And we used to talk about what we're going to do when we lose our job. Like, seriously, like, I really thought, but then I'm like, you know what? I got to be positive. I got to do everything I can to keep the fans going to the games, to support this team, because I still believe to this day, if the fans had stopped going to the games and if Carmichael Dave had stopped doing what he was doing and we became a dead city, I don't believe the Board of Governors would have changed their mind. I believe that the fans and the media, the Playing to Win tour, my small part, I believe that all helped in saving the franchise. I'll believe that until I take my last breath. So that was the hardest period of time I've ever had, well, up until 2020 in my life.
Incredible. People don't think about that side of it, Grant. You know, the push and tug, we've talked about that, but losing your job, people might think, oh, you just roll on with the franchise. No, that's not how it
And by
works.
the way, the Maloofs, I'm getting a lot of the Maloofs are good people. They really are. The Maloofs problems started, even though George disputes that on the 30 for 30. Their problems began when the economy tanked in 2007 and 8. That's when it happened.
Too much in the palms, you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't too much. They would have been printing money if the economy had not tanked. The new tower, the Palms condominiums, was already 90% sold out, and most people pulled out when the economy tanked, and that was the beginning of the end for the Maloofs.
Let's welcome Taylor in tonight. Taylor, welcome on with Grant and Ryno. Taylor had been trying to get on. Taylor, if you get it figured out, we'll come back to you really quick.
Well, I don't really have much else to add. I'm very impressed with the Kings taking care of business against a team that they should have taken care of business against. And now let's see what happens with Minnesota, a team that, quite frankly, is struggling big time right now.
Yeah, you got to take the positives that you can take away from this one. And I think that they outweigh the negatives. A lot of self-inflicted wounds, and put your big boy pants on. Friday night's going to be rocking at Golden One Center. You got a big game coming up.
Oh, yes, it is going to be rocking. No question about that. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate each and every one of you. Do we have another call? Or we
do. Taylor's on camera. Why don't we bring him up really quick?
Taylor, I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were on. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, Taylor.
Hey, Grant. Hey, Ryan. I think
Taylor?
Can you guys see me?
Yes,
Yep.
go ahead, buddy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, big fan of the show, Grant, Ryan. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Dude, we were dropping threes, Sacktown tonight. We were dropping threes. I just wanted to know your professional opinion of, how we really, the ball movement, of tonight.
I liked it. And they took advantage in the second half of a very tired team. The first half, I thought they were very careless with the ball. But I like what I saw tonight. I liked how the bench played. I liked De'Aaron Fox not shooting a lot of threes. There are a lot of things I liked about the game tonight. Let's see if they can carry it over till Friday night.
Ditto. The one thing I'm taking from it, Taylor, is tracking the trend that Grant just mentioned. The threes that Fox takes relative to the assists and how that helps the ball movement for the rest of the guys.
Yep.
Right. And do you guys think Fox could improve in his shooting?
Not really. And I say that for this reason. You are who you are normally at this point in your career. What is he in his 9th year?
Right.
So you are who you are at this point in your career. Generally. I mean, there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, if you don't know how to, well, shouldn't say don't know how, but if you're an inconsistent deep shooter 8-9 years into your career, you're not going to wake up one morning and all of a sudden raise your percentage by 5 to 10%.
All right.
Yeah, I guess for me, Taylor, there's time if he wants to try to improve it, because the shot's probably going to be the last thing to go. While he has this speed, I want him going full blaze ahead to that hoop and putting pressure on the defense.
Yep,
Right.
me too.
Gotta do those Euro steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter had a really nice one tonight, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
He did.
So,
Taylor, appreciate you calling. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
thanks, Taylor.
To everyone else, thank you very much. Ryan, you got your show at 2:00 tomorrow?
Do indeed. Kings Court, come join us. We'll be talking plenty of Kings basketball.
All right. That's tomorrow at 2:00. Until then, have a good night, everybody. Light the beam. Keep it lit. Go Kings. They beat the Suns. Big second half. Bye-bye now.